hosting and taking care of me every time I do an Opus demo. And it's always fun to do demos, especially to enthusiastic people who wants to learn new stuff. And for all of for those who came from other side of the world, well, I'm so happy you're here. I don't know what time it is there, but most likely it is very late for those in Germany, or a little bit, not like after dinner maybe. And some are early morning, I guess. Oh, 8 p.m. That's good. Dzień dobry. Since we were talking about Poland earlier, let me start off with that, because we will be using Graphitint paint pan set. This set available at Opus, and it is water soluble. It's graphite, but it has colors. It has colors, not just gray, dark gray, black, or lighter gray. So it's very nice because it pretty much works like watercolor. And when you get this set, it comes with a swatch like this with all the colors. So it also comes in with a small water brush that is included in the pack. So I will be using water brushes today, and a Dagger brush to demonstrate how I use the Graphitint. But before that, I will show you some samples of the things I've done in the past using Graphitint. So this was, oh, can we switch the camera, Pamela? There. So this, it looks gray, but you can see there's a tinge of red on the roof. So that is Graphitint. And I'll show you how I transition from warm to cool colors when I'm using Graphitint. It's actually nice to blend them well. And what I like about Graphitint, it's very subtle. It's not as bright as the intense, if you have the intense colors, or if you have the intense palette from Derwent as well. So this is very subtle, and it glides on paper smoothly. And what is also nice about this one, they sometimes glitter when the light touches it. I don't know if it's being shown, it can be seen, but it has a little bit of glitter when, oh, speaking of glitter, let me show you this one. this one has more glitter, but I added some metallics when I sketched this one as well. Okay, there. See, it has some shiny shimmers. And when I sketch on location, I like taking this with me plus another set of watercolors, because you can actually mix them depending on how you use, or depending on what you see. What I like about watercolor and the Graphitint, if you would like to focus on a subject, your focal point could be in watercolors, but you can also have the effect, especially of the shadows, using Graphitint. And I'll show you some of my samples. This was a sketch I did. This is a sketchbook I did in Poland Bay back in 2021. So this is a museum. It's a train museum. I love sketching motor vehicles. I think Pamela have seen some of my work. I love tractors. I love cars. I love to draw them, but I don't buy them. So I just love drawing and sketching motor vehicles, especially on location, or especially when there's an old car, vintage car exhibit. I love going to those places. So these are some of the things you could do when you're sketching using graphitint. So you may be curious why this is quite a long, this is a quite long paper. It's a zigzag that's also available at Opus. I think Pamela have shared the link. So this is watercolor and this is graphitint. When you put up a spread, it works nicely. And you can see the difference between using the watercolor and just the graphitint. See, I love the spread. You can make anything using just graphitint, and it lessens the stress of, oh, should I use the same color of green? Should I use the same color of blue? Like, no, because it's mostly shades of gray. However, there is warmer and cooler shades of gray. Okay, so just briefly on the other side, watercolor with some graphitint, graphitint with some watercolors. And that's about it. See, trains and cars, just in the same museum. You can mix it in your sketch. Alrighty. So for the Dagger, this is a 1/2-inch Dagger brush, and there are several brands available at Opus. You can just check out what they have available, and I'm pretty sure we can discuss it after the demo. So, any questions so far with the things that I've shown to you? Okay, so there's nothing. Things that I'm going to use today.
Do you know the size of your Dagger brush?
Oh, this is a 1/2-inch.
Half-inch?
Dagger. Opus has several brands. Like, can you name some brands, Pamela?
Yes, Willow Wolf for sure has Dagger brushes. Also, our Princeton brushes and our Princeton Neptune and Princeton Mixed Media.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Okay, so materials we'll be needing today, of course, the graphitint. Does it buckle the paper like watercolors? Actually, it depends on type of paper and the weight of your paper. I'm using a cold press paper, 100% cotton, and this is 9x12, and it is 300 grams, 140 pounds. So it depends on how much water you use, and it depends on your technique, because you can also do a wet on wet technique with the graphitint. It's pretty much like watercolors. And as far as I know, it is light fast. I've tested some of the colors, and they are light fast. Okay. All righty. So we can start doing the sketch. This is our reference material. I took this photo on location while we were visiting Quebec. And when we were walking on top of this small hill next to the port, this view was fabulous. It's, it has this really nice atmosphere of haze and blues and a little bit of purples in the background. Of course, the picture doesn't do it justice, but it's really different when you see it on location. So graphitint is also good when you do some landscape paintings. But since I'm an urban sketcher, I like cityscapes. And what I like about doing cityscape is I can work on the silhouette of the city. That's why that's our title for this demo. I love working on it intuitively, in an intuitive way. So this was the sketch I did on location. I finished this in about an hour, and I was just enjoying the view. And letting the colors work on my paper. We will be doing this today, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is what I do whenever I'm looking at the view. When I'm looking at the view, I won't look at the tiny details because this is very extensive. There's too many things up front, too many things at the back. And if you would notice, it's really too far apart. But it depends on your composition. It depends on the size of your paper. I would compress this because you just want to capture everything on your paper. That's how I do it as an urban sketcher. Because plein air artists, they have different ways. Like they have paintings that's very good to be placed in a gallery. No, for me, I'm an urban sketcher. I would rather sketch on my sketchbook and just have fun and enjoy the moment while I'm sketching. So every artist, they have different reasons on why they paint. For me, whenever I paint, I want to capture the moment and what's the story behind what I'm capturing. That's the essence of urban sketching. So urban sketching, yes, we are also sketching outside, same as plein air artists. Plein air artists are more perfectionists. They love paintings that they could put into the gallery. For me, I don't care. Even if I don't finish it, as long as I had fun. So that's a big difference. Of course, I could also use my painting, my sketch, to become my final drawing. And then I can make another painting for that. Okay, so enough of the talk, and let's go and dive into the colors that I'm using. For the graphitint, what I use for this painting, actually, I painted it again earlier, just before we started, and we can limit ourselves to just 3 colors. So for this one, this is a new set, but this is my old old tattered and torn, well-loved palette. So for this sketch, or for this demo, I'm going to use the ocean blue, which is this one. You have to prepare all the color that you will be needing because this is going to be quick. And while the paint is still a bit wet, you have to work on your next color and just dab it in. Because when you're on location, everything changes quickly. That's important. When timing is of the essence, you have to be quick. So, and try to limit yourselves with just a few colors. So my next color would be this one. This is a little bit purple. It's a juniper. And then I would like to add some aubergine, some dark, a little bit of dark. And then for the warm colors, I would use this autumn brown. If I got a mix of this purple, it doesn't matter because I'm going to blend it anyway. And usually I don't use solid colors. I want to alternate my colors every time I paint because you want to put it all over your paper so it will be blended onto the whole sketch. Rule of thirds, right? When you're doing your composition, so you have to divide your paper horizontally and vertically. Don't sketch right. Don't put your focal point right dead smack in the center because it would be boring. So these are the things that we need. purple. There. All right. I think that's about it. And then we can just progress as we go. All righty. Okay. So how do I approach this? There's so many things to sketch. What I do is just look at my subject. What catches your attention the first time you see this? For me, it was this. But I also would like to include a bit of this, because this is the Frontenac. So that's one huge figure that is very prominent in Quebec City. So I want to put that and to connect it to this, to others. But this, although this is the closest building to me, I just want a touch of it. I don't want to sketch the whole thing, because for me, this is my subject. So what I normally do, you can actually use both, but you can use a regular brush, or you can also use water brush, because this is very practical when you're on location. So I have 3 water brushes that I have, and Derwent has a flat brush that sometimes I could use using a dry brush technique, a round one and a very fine one. So this was sketched purely with these 3 brushes. And this was sketched on location with just this one brush. So a dagger, if you haven't used it yet, or you haven't tried it yet, it is something that you may want to put in your armament, because it's very practical. You can use it for flats, and you can use the pointy one to use for details. If I have one brush that I will bring with me, aside from a round water brush, it will be this brush. I take it with me whenever I'm sketching on location. Okay, so let me show you how to use a dagger brush first, and I will show you different ways interchangeably using the dagger brush and the water brush. Is that good? I hope everything is fine. All right, okay. So how do I attack the subject? What is my approach? Having this big of a paper, I want it to spread right there, with more emphasis on this side to put the Frontenac. This one right here. So what do? I don't use pencils. I don't use pens. I will just use this brush to run along the paper. And this is how I do it. Dab, place, or put a spot like where you want to compose the roof of this one. Maybe there, maybe there. You won't see it, but if I see a flat surface, I immediately put it there. And then bang. That is already the edge of my roof. And then using the tip of this one, you can already put some details onto that one. Interchanging it with the purple, and that's already my added shadow. See how quickly you can do that with not much effort. And then what I like about having a dagger is you can put it on its flat side and cover a whole lot of space in the building. I see like a small tower here, there. See, it's less effort. There. Okay. So while you're still moving along, you just have to be quick. Add a little bit of the purple together with the blue. Use the tip for small details. Put it immediately. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Just like that. Okay? Because when you're painting, sometimes you don't need to think much. Let the paint and the brush do its thing. Yep. It's ready, starting to be too cool. Add some warm colors. And you can add more layers here, because I think there's still more part of the buildings on that side. And see, if you put pencil, you won't be able to play with it. But now, since I notice, because it's different when you're sketching on locations, but since you're sketching based on a picture, I notice there are still parts of the building, of the whole structure, and we still have lots of room at the bottom. So it's something nice to add. Okay. Any questions so far?
There is a question here in the chat.
Mhm.
Teeny's asking, do you usually paint the same reference and have the same results?
No, because it's one of a kind. Every painting is one of a kind. Even if you say like you would do the same thing, at the moment you want to paint the next one, you feel something else. It's not always the same. You won't get the same result, even if you painted it yourself. So those who do art forgery, they are really good, because I cannot tell. Because I cannot copy the same structure for my own painting. I don't know how they do it. So the answer is no. Whenever I'm sketching, even if I do it over and over again, or even if I sketch it on location at a different time, I still won't be able to do it at exactly the same. There. Did that answer the question? Oh, my
Yes.
color choices. My
Yes,
color
thank you.
choices is basically, if I'm painting, I prefer a limited palette, and I want a combination of cool colors and warm colors.
Perfect timing, because Stacy just typed in, can you please talk about your color choices?
Oh, yeah. That's it. So this choice, because I've been like, if you would look at my previous palette, there are big dents on some of those. So those are the colors that I love using, and so I tend to go back to them over and over again. Oops, that didn't work. Yeah. see if we compare all of these three, each one will be different, but it's from the same reference.
And could you please let us know what the colors are that are found in the Derwent ink?
Okay. Most of this blue is the ocean blue. The ocean blue. They have small swatches here. There. Ocean blue. These are the colors that I use. Ocean blue, autumn brown, aubergine, and juniper. This. Because I also like mixing them together. Because it has a good blend. Okay. Let's put this aside because I will start using this side of the paper. Okay. Since I've covered most of that, I will show you how I use a water brush for the sketch. Continuing it from the use of the dagger, I can add some of this here. Oh, it's a little bit tricky because this one is equal to this one. Let me show you how and why. Because when you're sketching on location, you have to be quick. And I want to capture everything while the paper is still a bit wet. And just let me grab some paper, some towels. While I'm using the dagger, I can switch it from one side to the next to create different effects on the paper. Water brushes are a bit limited. So what I do is interchange this tree while I'm working along with the sketch. Okay, come back here. This is a little bit of a dome. So what I do is a little bit high. And then since that point, this one is too big for that point, I follow up immediately with a smaller water brush so I can have that effect on the tip there. Add a little bit of purple, carry it down. It has several columns, so I will just add that there. Don't think too much. There's a blank space. So what I do, I try to connect it. Imaginary structures. Anyway, there are smaller structures in between. So it's just imaginary structures onto that side.
So I have a couple questions here for you, Isabel.
Okay.
You mentioned you like to use cool and warm colors. Tracy's a bit curious about the colors that you've chosen today. How do you know where to place the warm and cool colors?
Because this is a photo and it's hard to see the shadows. When I'm on location, I can easily see the shadows. So where the sun is being touched, it is mostly left open, similar to this part of the sketch. And then when it's on a shadow, I tend to put a little bit more warm and cool colors, and then when I combine it, it will become gray. So I do one pass when I'm sketching something like this, and then I will add the darker colors, or I will have a thicker mix to point out or to put onto my area that I need to have more focus.
Okay, thank you. And Also, Alexandra's noticed that you have your reference photo has a lot going on in it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Do you,
true.
and and she's a bit surprised that you haven't edited it. Do you
Nope.
do you ever edit, or do you do this to allow your imagination to be at play while sketching?
Because you see, this was the exact picture taken on location. When I painted this, I was on location and I can choose which building I would put on my paper. That's the difference when you're urban sketching. You sketch what you see and what you felt at that moment to put on and capture on your paper. Because if you're just sketching based on this picture, like I don't even like to look at it. I won't even sketch it if I'm just looking at this picture. You know what I mean? Because it has no feelings for me. Well, when you're on location, you're up, oh my God, that is a huge structure. I can paint that, even if it's like a kilometer away from you, because you felt it at the moment when you were sketching it. So
Beautiful. I love that.
for pictures, I don't edit, because pictures, I don't care. What's more important for me is what I put on my paper. And you always have the artistic freedom. You can choose whatever you put on your paper. It's your art.
I love it, Isabel.
It's true. It's your art. You just have to enjoy it.
I have another question here that's popped up about the Graphitint.
Okay.
Some people today have logged in and they're using watercolors today. Would you
Okay.
mind just sharing what the difference is between the Graphitint
Oh,
versus the watercolors?
oh, you can work on graphite pretty much like watercolors. As you can see, I'm playing along with it pretty much like watercolors. However, the colors, because the pigment, it's not pigment, it's graphite, but it's water soluble graphite, and they are subtle. They are muted, they are subtle, and it has this hazy effect. It's good for atmospheric painting. So that's a big difference. Whereas for watercolors, especially if you use intense, you can intensify it, just like the name implies. So it has a different touch. But as I've shown in my sample or the sketches I did previously, it can be mixed, or it can be interchanged, or it can be used in the same painting, and it will have different effects.
And would you mind commenting on the liftability of the Graphitint?
The liftability, it can be lifted.
Yeah, does it stain?
Not as much as intense. Let us test. It's nice to do demos and experiment at the same time. There. Yeah, it doesn't stain as much as intense. Because sometimes once intense is dried, that's it. Cannot go back. Okay, now I have to fix this. Who asked that question? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's something you should learn, because it's your medium. If you're going to use it, you just have to experiment. Oh, actually, that's nice. I can put more windows there. Thank you. The lifting worked. Alrighty. Okay. So I'm almost done with this side. I just a little bit more because there's too much cool colors here. Okay. So there's another structure here. Too strong. Find that too strong. Okay. And what I like about drawing silhouettes or cityscape, I don't need to put details. I don't care if the proportion is wrong. I don't care if there's a lot of artwork or details in the building. And because there are so many structures on this reference, there's no need to have perspective. There's perspective coming from all over. So something to relax the brain.
And Isabel, does the graphitint wash out nicely from brushes?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had no issues with them. I use the same brush whenever I'm using graphitint and also for watercolors. I use the same.
Thank you. And we know that urban sketching is your art form, although before you became an urban sketcher, had you been practicing in any other types of art mediums?
No, because I'm not a professional artist. That's the thing. Art is just a hobby. I do something different using the left side of my brain, and it has nothing to do with art. I only started sketching and drawing when I joined Urban Sketchers. No, my bad. I lied. I started sketching when I was living in Vancouver. When I was living in Vancouver, because I wanted to give my friend, I was actually based here in Toronto. And then the company that I work for, which is a non-art related company, although I'm with sales and marketing, they brought me to Vancouver to help out the team there. And I stayed in Vancouver for a year. A lot of my first art materials were from Opus. So, including a lot of my first Derwent pencils. And I'm not even familiar with the brands yet during that time. So I was just testing out materials, but not buying stuff, not knowing what I'm buying. I'm just trying them out. And then when I came back after my assignment there, when I came back to Toronto, I discovered the Urban Sketchers, and that was in 2016. I was in Vancouver in 2014 up to the first few months of 2015. And then that's how it started. I was so hooked in urban sketching. I tried to read every art books that I can grab my hands on, from the library, from secondhand bookstore, from Indigo, from whatever. And I devoured each of them because I just want to sketch. And since then, I've been sketching. So that's pretty much it. And this painting is evolving. I'm adding buildings right in front of me. See, that's how things go. Things can change.
And on your adventures in the library and in the bookstores, do you have a favorite book about urban sketching?
Actually, a lot of books on urban sketching is is uh, is available at the library, yes, but they vary. So the things that I love about urban sketching, it's it depends on your style. It depends on the technique you want to learn. But a lot of it's mostly exploring how you will approach your art. And everything has to do with sketching on location. So there's a lot of, just Google anything about urban sketching and all the titles will come out. There are, you have to check, because a lot of the books by urban sketchers, it's more relaxed. It's not very disciplined, I guess, compared to oil painters. It's more loose. So it's something that anybody can just try, even if they don't know how to draw or sketch. I cannot name any one title, but of course, if you want to start to know more about urban sketching, get the urban sketching book by Gabi Campanario, and or Stephanie Bauer, The World of Urban Sketching, because that's how you can see a lot of different or variety of styles of urban sketchers. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Isabel. I love hearing about your journey as a painter.
Mhm.
It's really evident that painting it's more than just art to you. It comes across as being very much your lifestyle.
It is, because you want to do it regularly, and it's fun to do urban sketching, because we have 420 something chapters now globally. And if you are visiting a city and you don't know anyone, just reach out to the chapter of the city you're visiting, and you can have someone to sketch with easily. See, I did that when I went to London on my own. I reached out to their chapters. I also did that when I went to Melbourne, and they sketched with me. They created an event just for me to sketch with them. Isn't that fun? You feel so special, and I don't know them. So that's how we do it when we have visitors. I also do it the same way. Um, I don't know if you know Ian the Hook. Yes, he's an artist in BC. He came by. I created an event for him when he came by. So not just once. I did 2 events for him when he was visiting Toronto. So those are the things you may want to check out. So
I like hearing that you connected with Ian.
oh yeah,
Ian's
I'm a
first
fan.
demo was with Opus.
Yes, he's an artist. He's an Opus artist, right?
And we have a couple other questions for you in the chat.
Okay.
Do you ever, when you're urban sketching, do you ever work wet on wet?
Hardly, because for wet on wet, you need to let it dry unless it's in the summer or it calls for it. I would do negative painting sometimes, but you're always in a hurry, so you don't have enough time. Plus, if you're on wet, you want to have your moment, you know. For my sketch, if I'm done in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that's it. If I take longer, if, for example, structures like this and so many elements, maybe an hour. But for wet on wet, you don't have that much time. Or if you're out on location, if it's too hot, it's hard to do wet on wet because you want your temperature to be more controlled, right? When you're doing wet on wet, or when you want it to really dry out before you put on your next level or your next layer, it takes some time. So it really depends, but most of the time I don't do wet on wet. I would do negative painting sometimes, but not wet on wet.
Thank you. And another curious question. There's lots of questions that keep showing up here.
Okay.
So as an urban sketcher, how often do you sketch? Do you
How
have,
often do
yeah.
oh we often we do meetups. Well, now it's kind of getting cold to sketch outdoors, but sometimes we would sketch on location, but indoors if we have a space that we can use. So personally, because of work, which is not art related, I would sometimes sketch on the weekend, but I try to do some, doodling at home or swatching or something, that as long as I touch my palette or my pencils or my art materials. For meetups, we would sometimes have three to four a month. It depends on who is hosting, and those are fun times when we go there on the weekend. Sometimes if some museums or art galleries are free on a day, we would have a meetup during the time, so members can just go in and not pay the entrance fee. It's fun. Vancouver has a good group, and they have a meetup. They meet up on Meetup, the app. You can check them out. It's free to join urban sketching. There's no membership. There's no membership fee. So you can just check them out. And Vancouver is one really good group. They meet regularly. I don't know if you know the Sneaky Artist. Yes, he's an urban sketcher. He's also an instructor, so if you don't know him, check him out. He makes this tiny people drawing. That's so much fun. There. So,
And as an urban sketcher, do
mhm.
you ever get artist block? Or maybe do you ever just not know where to go to paint?
It's usually we go to a meetup, and there are so many things that you can see there. It's not artist block, it's where will I start? Because sometimes the view is overwhelming. Like, okay, which building will I sketch? Especially if you go to University of Toronto, and University of Toronto has so many buildings adjacent to each other, old historic buildings. So where do I start? Usually that's my predicament. And what I do is I don't start immediately. I just sit and just look at the scene. If I decided, okay, I think I'm going to do that, I just put it immediately on my paper, on my sketchbook. Because I like working with sketchbook when I'm sketching on location, because my sketchbook is my playground. Even if I make a mistake, I don't care. Because some people, they would make their sketchbook so pretty and they don't want to make mistakes. For me, it's the opposite. Actually, working on loose paper like this, I'm scared because this paper is so pretty, and this could be my final piece, but I'm working on it. Like, I'm sketching it like a sketchbook. For sketchbooks, I can experiment, I can play with it. I will not think about what I'm going to put in there, and just enjoy. Put on paper what you see and capture it while you're on location. So that's mostly my predicament. For not usually for winter, that's the time when I would start to think like, okay, where will I sketch now? Because it's cold. So go to the library, go to the mall, because you just don't need to sketch people. You can also, not only buildings, you can also sketch people, or there's a botanical garden in Toronto that's enclosed. So during winter, it's warm. They have tropical plants there that you can sketch. So those are things that would be inspiring, and it can trigger your sketching mood again. And always bring a friend, because it's nice to sketch and then have coffee after, or do stuff, or go to an art shop and buy more art supplies. So those are the things that's fun to do. Okay, so what I'm doing here now is totally different from what I've done in my sample. Okay, this is starting. Okay, for this side of the building, if you would notice, there are so many elements here. Now, someone asked earlier, how do I know which part I would put the warm, which part I would put the cold, the cool colors. Most of the cool colors are there. The farther they are, the cooler they are. Now, warm colors bring the eyes closer to the viewer. So most of this, a little bit of there, because it's more harmonious if you have warm colors here and a touch on the other parts of the paper. So what I do, what I'll be doing now is adding the final touches, like the more darks. And pretty much I will just be almost like drawing with this fine water brush. I'm pretty much using it like a pen. And just adding some darker parts to the structure. And now I'm going to add some, okay, that's darker. I will add some windows, not too dark. I don't count the windows, so I will just guess. Okay. I sometimes I'll be sketching with some urban sketchers that are perfectionists, and then they will just stop all of a sudden while sketching. Oh my God, I missed a window. So like, who cares if you miss a window? Like the building won't collapse if you missed a window, but it's not perfect in my sketch. Okay, that is stressful. For me, I don't care. I don't count the windows. Makes life easier. Okay, what else would I put in here? Some windows there. Now I'm not looking much on the reference. I'm just trying to balance what I see on my sketch and just trying to put everything together. I'm letting this dry because I will use a white pencil to do the windows and see how it goes.
And Isabel,
Yes.
can the graphitint paint, because there's graphite in it, be erased with an eraser?
Oh, I never tried that. Let us try. Do I have an eraser? Because I don't bring an eraser actually. Eraser. I hardly bring an eraser with me when I'm on location. So I never tried it before. So let me see if I can find an eraser. We will try it on some of the spots here.
And do you know, is the graphitint, is the color in it a dye or a pigment, just so that we can kind of navigate the light fastness?
I'm technical. I'm not really sure. Maybe this is something that we can ask Lisa, because
Yeah,
I think she's
I can look it up on the website for
yeah, yeah. I never really checked into that, but let me just show you. So this is a light fast test I did back in 2022. So I covered half of the swatches with dark Bristol board, and then this was on my window for 2 months only, but I see no change in the color. So in terms of light fastness, it is light fast. I think it's different for the pencils, but for this set, it is light fast. Or look, an eraser suddenly appears. So let's try. No, it doesn't erase. It lightens a bit, but not much. Something to consider. Okay. So what else can I add on to this one? I'm almost done. When you're painting, it's nice to just let it go, let it flow, and because painting for me is very intuitive. If I control it, it doesn't show well. I don't know. It's hard for me because most of my paintings is how I felt at that moment. So if I feel that, oh, maybe I should add some more of this, or maybe I should just leave that behind. My strokes are different every time. So I don't know if it makes sense, but that's just me speaking for myself whenever I'm painting. Because for me, painting is mostly feeling. So that's how I paint most of the time. Let's add some birds. Yeah. Okay, okay, let's try this. Experimented on using the white Derwent pencil. And yeah, it works. It works on very dark paint. Because sometimes when I need some highlights, I would use the gel pen, but it's so strong. And if you just want a subtle white, I prefer this. Or if you have gouache white paint, I think it's better instead of using, well, it depends on what you're doing. Because for windows, it's more practical to just use a gel pen. But for things like this, like subtle white, it's nice to use the white pencil. And it's part of your set, so why not use it? Or it's also, I haven't tried it on a dark paper. Maybe that's something I can experiment on. Using it on dark paper, working on it on dark paper. So
And that is a white Derwent Inktense, is that correct?
yes, it's a white Derwent Inktense, antique white. Okay, I like the subtle white colors there. And then that's it. I think I'm done. I don't want to add anything anymore. So from yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is busier with all the elements based on the picture. This is what I sketched earlier this morning when I was just doing my warm-up. And this is what I sketched on location. Each one is different. Now,
Yes.
are we going to do the
Oh
question?
yeah, we could do like we promised a little Q&A here at the end for everyone. If you have any questions about Derwent products, if you want to type them into the chat, there's lots of encouraging comments coming in for you right now, Isabel.
Oh, thank you.
Gratitude for your demo today. There is a question here. Hans is wondering what to do with a finished painting with Graphitint. Does it require any spraying if you're going to spray it?
Treat it basically how you treat your watercolor paintings. You still have to put it in a frame. I don't think you need to put spray on it because it's paper. So you have to frame it. If you're sketching on your sketchbook, then there's no need. It doesn't smear, like nothing compared to some graphite pencils. Like no, nothing. This I cannot touch because some parts are still wet, but nothing there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Do you prefer white gouache over PH Allen blend?
Oh, the bleed proof white. I prefer the bleed proof white. I prefer that. I don't know if you carry it. Dr. PH Martin bleed proof white. So that's the whitest I could find instead of like titanium white or Chinese white. That is the whitest for me. And I like using it on a rigger brush whenever I'm sketching boats. So it's really nice to use. Because gouache, I sometimes paint with gouache, but if I use it on location, they dry so quickly. And I cherish the whites on my gouache for gouache paintings. So if I go on location, this Doc Marten bleed proof white comes in a small jar, and it's easier to carry with me on location. Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you've really inspired me this afternoon or this morning. There's a couple things I want to try that I saw you doing today with that dagger brush and
Yeah, try the
Derwent
Dagger.
Inktense white pencil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something to try,
Yeah.
something to experiment. It's always good to experiment. Yeah, look at this. It's more loose in this one because I'm chatting while I'm sketching. So it goes different ways, but you just put it all together in your composition. Try to get a Derwent Graphitint. It's fun to use and it's very handy. It comes in this small palette. You have 12 colors to choose from. When I'm using a Graphitint, I usually put my blues here, my purples here, red here, because I don't use a lot of red. So just put them on the same spot. You don't need to wash after because you have to you can use it over and over again.
I have a question for you, Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
I really love your color choices here, and I really like how beautiful all the graphitint works together. Would you
Mm-hmm.
say would you say the whole palette is harmonious, or do you still have to be kind of careful that you don't make mud?
Um,
Like,
it's the same principle as using watercolors. That's why sometimes it's better to just have limited colors, and even if you have 12, 24, 36, or how many colors you have, choose what colors you will use for your painting and stick to it. Just blend each of those colors, preferably choose a cool color and a warm color. Maybe start with just two. Because if you start adding, oh, maybe I should add some green, maybe I should add some of this purple. Oh, what about maybe I should try this blue? Stop doing that. Because otherwise you will create mud. And if you put everything together, it will definitely be mud. So if you have two colors, one cool, one warm, that's it. And then just add if you have to. If you have to. Because otherwise, just with two colors, you can finish your sketch. You can finish your painting with just two colors, one warm, one cool, or even just one, and just use values.
thank you. Thank you for that advice.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that really pops out to me about the graphitint is that I feel like the colors really suit this time of year.
Yes.
They do, they do. It
Yes.
feels like almost perfect to just put in your pocket and get out into the city and just sketch.
Yes. Yes. That's what I like about the graphite. Aside from the line and wash paint pan set, because the line and wash paint pan set, they have intense, they have graphite, and they have pastels in that set. The colors are perfect for urban sketching. But with the graphitint, it's all pure graphitint. And you're right. This time of the year, it has fall colors. It's more subdued, it's more subtle. So you don't need some popping colors. However, if you want, those bright orange when you do your pumpkins, you still need those, and it's good to blend it together with watercolor or intense, the intense set that you can also carry in a small set like this. So it's also nice to have.
Nice
Or
to hear that
you
it's
can, oh sorry,
can I-
or to make your life easier, you can just bring the intense pencil and use that to pop your colors if you want something bright.
Thank you. And Amanda's wondering when you're sketching on location, you mentioned that you like to work in sketchbooks. What sketchbook do you usually bring with you? Do you have a favorite sketchbook?
um I like an A4 size sketchbook, and if I'm traveling, I where did I put it? I actually like bringing something like this, which you carry with. It is Hahnemühle zigzag, and you can play with it. So when I'm sketching on location, I would like to capture the scene that I saw, and I would put some text onto it, and sometimes interesting things that I've seen on the structure. So I would, even if I would look at this sketch or this sketchbook for maybe after 5 years, it would bring back the memories of your travel. It's like your travel journal, but only on sketches. So I would like something practical and something light, like this one, or an A4 size sketchbook. Because A4 size sketchbook has more flexibility in other either landscape or portrait sketch, and you have more real estate to play with. I also prefer an A4 size that is landscape format, so you can have 2 of this as your spread. This is just sample, this is not A4 size, but you have so much to work on. See, so that's why I like landscape format. However, if I'm traveling, I would sometimes bring loose sheets like this, especially small sizes like this one. This is a 7x10, because sometimes I paint on location. I'll give an example. When I was in Amsterdam during the symposium, of Urban Sketchers Symposium, I was sketching the dancing ladies, and one lady was interested. Oh, are you selling your art? No, I'm not selling your art. But if you're selling your art, how much is it? I want to buy your painting and give to my I want to buy it. I think the guy was talking to me, and then I said, I want to give it to my wife. So I said, okay, name your price. So if you have something loose like this, you can easily sell it. See? And that would cover some expenses for dinner. Because if it's in a sketchbook, maybe I can redo it and then send it to you by mail. Your sale is gone. So there are different ways on how to do it, because some travelers, they would just love to capture something, or, oh, I cannot sketch, but can I buy your sketch? So give and take. So if you're traveling, have some loose sheets, have your sketchbook, and have something quite light to bring with you whenever you're sketching.
I love that story.
Yeah. I love it too.
Very good. Very good. And then we've got a few minutes here, and there's been a small request in the chat. Folks wondering if they can see more from your sketchbook.
Oh, this sketchbook from Poland? I should have brought my other sketchbooks.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. You've seen this. Okay, I'll do it slowly, I guess, because this sketchbook is a mix of graphitint and watercolor, as I've mentioned. So someone wanted me to go to Akanagan. Is Amanda, are you one of the admins? There. Oh, Old Town Warsaw. It is so beautiful. And this is one place that you will be overwhelmed. As soon as you stay in the square, okay, which building should I sketch first? There's so many things to sketch in Old Town Warsaw. There, okay, next side.
Oh, you've painted both sides of the zigzag book.
Yes, that's what I love about that's what I like about the zigzag. You can paint both sides. So this This is graphitint. Graphitint working together with watercolors. See how they blend well? And this is a very complicated building. So what I like about this building, the light, because this was late in the afternoon and the light was giving this building a nice glow. So this was a beautiful building. It's a tenant house. There you go. Graphitint, and some watercolors mixed well together. Grab one of these. It's fun to use. Give it a try.
Your paintings are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
and the handwriting, it's so lovely.
Just practice cursive writing.
Yeah, yeah. And following your joy, it's evident that you truly love what it is that you do. We're so happy you could be here with us today. You've managed to inspire so many of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thanks for those who joined us today. It's really fun working with Opus and using Derwent products. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Isabel. And thank you everyone for logging in, for being part of the community here online. From Tanisha at NMO, thank you for also helping in the chat. I really hope all of you have a lovely rest of your day, or if you're on the other side of the world, you have a really good sleep. And I hope to see you again in the future.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.